you're having a nice time despite the pandemic. Today I'm going to show you a new menu cooked by my husband, so if you like the video, please subscribe. I'm new here so I can make more videos. Like the video for me, please. Thank you. Have a nice view.
Hello, this evening I want to show you how to cook a very nice recipe that is lobster tails in ham and tomato sauce. Are you ready? Okay, so let's start.
Do we need to do this? Of course, we need the tails of langoust. These ones are frozen. Of course, if you can buy fresh one, it's better, but with frozen one is already very good. We will need onions and shallot. We will need a glass of dry white wine. We will need a bit of curry. We will need a bit of one soup spoon of garlic. We will need 2 soup spoons of flour. We will need half a kg of mixed tomatoes. This one is already mixed, and half a kg of dry ham. So, and I forgot obviously 2 small sets of saffron. It's okay, you've noted everything, let's start. I will start by cutting the onions. Obviously I will not show you all the onions being cut. I will just make a gest and it's cut. No need to cut it in a very detailed way. It's going to be cooked in the fry pan, and after it's going to be mixed anyway. I've also removed the excess of fat on the ham, and now I'm going to cut the ham into pieces. There also no need to cut it in a very artistic way. It's going to be mixed afterwards. So ham is cut, onions are cut, we have the tomatoes. Now we are going for the next step. Next step is to prepare the sauce and cook the onions, the ham and the tomatoes together with the spice. We are in the kitchen and we are going to fry pan the onions, the ham and the tomatoes. So to do that, I will set a medium fire, a bit of oil, as you notice I'm using an old pot, cast iron pot, best one to do this kind of cooking. And I will start by putting the onions and I will leave them until they get this transparent color showing that they are cooked. Turn them to ensure that they are well coated in oil. And now it's just a matter of waiting. Okay, about 10 minutes later, the onions have turned a bit transparent. They are not fully cooked yet, but it's not a big deal, because since we are going to add the ham inside, it's better not to wait for them to be completely cooked before we add the ham. If not, the onions might risk to be overcooked. So I will simply add the ham inside. And I will mix everything together. Start to look good. And I will wait a couple of minutes more. Onions have gone even a bit more cooked. The ham starts to cook also, and you can smell it, the typical smell of ham. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to deglass all this with a bit of wine I recall is dry white wine, so I will just put a bit less than half of the glass inside, just to collect the greases and add it to the ham and onions. And I will wait for this to boil again. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to add flour. Why adding flour? Because it's going to capture the juices of the preparation, and it will keep it and release it at the end of the recipe. So putting the flour, and I'm mixing it quickly so that the flour covers most of the preparation. That's okay. Now I will add the tomatoes. Everything at a time. And mixing all together. Now what I will need to add to the sauce is the spices. So I will add the curry, I will add the garlic. I will not add salt because the ham in itself is salty. I will add pepper. I will turn all this. I will wait a bit to add safran. And what I will do, I will add the remains of wine, and I will add 1 glass of water. It's a relatively long cooking afterwards, so if it's not liquid enough, the sauce will get too much thick. The sauce is ready, and we will go to the next step. Next step is to prepare the tails themselves and add them to the sauce. But we will leave the sauce the way it is. I'm going to cut the fire and cover it until I'm ready to put the tails inside. Okay, back to business with the tails. They are still frozen. The tails, to cook them, we need to cut them into two so that they will cook better, and also so that they will absorb the sauce. The best way to do it without cutting one hand is how? Take a sharp knife, of course, put the tail, I would say with the back of the tail facing you. You put the knife on top, you hold the side like this, and with your palm, you press the knife, and you will cut the tail into two from one end to the other until it's completely cut. Okay, back to tail cooking. So I'm going to set the pot with medium fire. The goal is not to completely cook the tails. The goal is simply to have them brownish. It's going to close the skin, I would say, and keep the juices inside and make the tails more succulent. So I will use classic butter for cooking, and I'm putting a bit of butter in the pan so that we can brownish the tails. when the butter is melted, put it all over the pot. Ensure that the butter remains yellow, doesn't get black. I will simply put the tails inside. Just ready a plate to put the tails. It's going relatively quickly, you don't need to leave them long time. You try as much as possible to put the tails close one to the other. Once more, the goal is not to have them cook fully. The goal is really to have them brownish a bit. This is what we should obtain at this stage. As you see, it's far from being cooked, but that's not the goal. The goal is not to cook it. Simply to have it brownish. Okay, now the tails, all the tails have been brownish. Now what I will do is I'm going to flame them. To flame them, I'm going to use whiskey, but you can use either cognac. Second layer. Whiskey again. You have this juice, and of course you have the sauce that you prepared earlier on. So what you will do is to add the juice, all of it, to the sauce, mix it. At this step you can add the safran, quite a big sauce, so you can put two. We are going to prepare to mix the sauce. The mixing is done. As you can see, I've done only light mixing. That is to say, I've left something that is a texture that is a bit with a bit of pieces inside that is not very regular. So now what I'm going to do is to put the tails inside the cast iron plate and of course cover it with the sauce. There's something you can do if you want to make the meal even more tasty and, as we say in French, gourmand, is to add Saint-Jacques shells inside, but the best thing is to add them almost at the dying minute, so that they will still be soft and melting in the mouth. I'm just going now to cover the tails with the sauce. Here also you see I have some juice, putting it inside, because all this juice of the tails are saturated with the taste of the tails themselves, and it's really, it should be a pity to leave it lost. Now we'll have to be patient and leave the meal to rest up to tomorrow. 12 hours is okay to cover it and put it in the fridge up to tomorrow. Hello, we are tomorrow. I've just brought out the sauce from the fridge. Now, before cooking it, I will remove the tails from inside so that the sauce can cook very well, and then 10-15 minutes before the end I will add the tails. I'm going to put the sauce to cook, medium temperature. Okay, I've stopped the sauce, it's cooked, it has taken a brownish color. Now I'm putting back the tails inside. Okay, I've added the tails. Now is to turn it regularly to ensure that everything goes well cooked. Fire is on 4. Now what I will do is I will add the safran. Still leave it covered. The lobster tails have cooked. They are in the pot. Now what I'm going to show you is how to dress them. As you can see, well hot. So one portion is 2 half of tails. Remember, we cut them into 2. So we have added Saint-Jacques shells inside. So let me pick a couple of those. And of course, we need accompaniment. I suggest you plain white rice. And a bit of ciboulette. A bit. That is it. Here it is. Now remains just to enjoy and eat it. Have a nice day. Goodbye.